legs, or what if they are gonna observe my important moment and then all the cars stop just for me. Oh, okay. Then I am so ready to cross the street. Dogs are allowed to use transportation. Oh my god. Pay tips and the tax. What? So I was like, oh, people here are really friendly. 1, 2. Hello, my lovely Minjions. This is Minji from Minji Teaches Korean. So, if you guys have followed me on Instagram, I traveled to the US last month for my vacation, right? And actually it was my first time to be there, so I was really excited and thrilled. And it was so fun. I enjoyed it so much. It was super fun. But the funny thing was, although I've never been to the US before going there, I was kind of confident. I thought I knew some basic cultural differences between Korea and America because I've been watching a lot of American movies and dramas. So I was like, okay, I've been watching a lot of movies, so now I think I'm very familiar with American culture. I won't make any mistakes. So yeah, I was that confident, but it turned out it was not, and I was such an idiot. So today I would like to talk about that story, my culture shocks in the United States. And all the things that I'm going to mention today will be based on my personal experiences. They might be different from real facts, so I hope you guys can understand about that. Alright, then let's get started. So, the first thing that was the most shocking to me was the toilet doors. Oh my god. So, I landed up in San Francisco International Airport, and when I finished all the steps, like customs and finding my luggage, I went to restroom right away because I waited for like almost 2 hours because of customs and stuff. So, it was kind of an emergency situation because of my number 1. So anyway, I walked into the restroom and the first thing that I said was, huh? And then I blinked my eyes for several times and then I called my friend immediately. I was like, 어떡해? 빨리 와봐, 빨리 와봐. Because the doors were smaller, like the length of the doors was smaller than Korean one. So yeah, that was really shocking to me. I could literally see people's legs. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if they're gonna see my legs? Or what if they are gonna observe my important moment? So I was that embarrassed. I mean, in Korea in general, there are like this length of spaces near up and there, so it's like the air still can circulate but no one actually can see your legs, never. But in America, if I locked the door, I couldn't help but worrying that someone might crawl to get in, you know. So yeah, that was the most shocking moment to me. The next surprising thing. I was surprised that cars wait for pedestrians to cross the street. Wow. I mean, in Korea, when you have to cross the street but there's no traffic light, I would just wait for other cars pass. I would just let them go, and when there's no car, then I decided to cross the street. So I behaved like the same way in America because that's how I got used to. So I stopped in front of a street and then all the cars stopped just for me.
그리고 여기 와서 느낀 게 횡단보도가 너무 빨라. 짧은 다리로는 다 건널 수 없어. 근데 또 신기한 게 차들이 다 기다려줘요.
Like there were many cars passing really fast, so I didn't expect that at all. Like I never expected that they stopped just for me and my friend, but they did, as if there had been a traffic light. So I was kind of thankful. I was like, oh, okay, then I am so ready to cross the street. So yeah, that was one of my culture shocks. But it's a good one, right? Like pedestrians are given priority over vehicles, so that's awesome. Alright, the third culture difference. Dogs are allowed to use transportation. Oh my god. In Korea, when you want to ride a taxi, a subway, or a bus with your dog, you must carry it in a pet luggage so that it won't approach to the people. But in San Francisco, I've seen so many dogs riding a bus or subway like people do. So that just made my day. It was so cute. My heart just melted. And they even seemed to be confident, you know? I mean, they even knew how to use the escalators. So I was like, oh my god, you guys are smarter than I am. Well, good job, San Francisco. So I was really impressed by that culture. The owners leashed their dogs, but you know, there was no luggage and every dog looked really happy. So yeah, I really liked it. Alright, the next, the personal space. So I knew about it because that's what I learned from the textbook. Is that like if I suddenly stop in the street or if I walk right in front of someone, people might get offended because that means violating their space. So I knew about it, but experiencing that culture in real life situation was difficult to me in many ways. So for example, I was shopping at a Dart. I was standing in front of a dairy section and choosing my milk.
지금은 잠깐 마트 와서 필요한 거 사고 있어요. 우유 필요해서 우유 하나 사려고요.
And then one old lady approached to me like really close and she was like, "Excuse me, lady." So I thought she was gonna ask something to me. So I was like, "Yeah?" Pretending that I am so used to using English, but yeah, it turned out she actually wanted to pick up her milk, but she couldn't reach it, so that's why she said, "Excuse me." Oh my gosh, I should have said sorry like a native. I was such an idiot. So yeah, and after saying that, she stretched her arm and picked up her milk. And another situation that related to this personal space would be when I was in a subway station. So a guy slightly hit me like this and I almost didn't feel, but he apologized to me and that was really weird. I mean, in Korea, especially in the morning when everyone is commuting, because the subway station is so crowded that people might hit you by their shoulders. But for me, I would just don't care, and I'm sure a lot of Koreans also do. I would just don't care unless someone hits me like this kind of power. But other than that, I would just don't give a shit. But in the US, I found out that people said, "I'm sorry, sorry, excuse me" all the time. So I was able to feel that manners are considered to be more important in the US. Yes. Number 5, I found out that Americans loved talking to strangers. So in Korea, I don't really speak to strangers because if I do that, people will think that I'm a weirdo or a scammer. So normally, I do not start having a conversation with strangers. But in America, it was totally different. For example, I was in Ghirardelli Square.
Ghirardelli chocolate.
I was waiting outside until my friend finished her chocolate shopping, and then an old guy approached to me and he was like, "Are you Korean?" So I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Oh, I've traveled to Korea last year," and he suddenly shared his travel story to me. And that was really interesting. And not only him, a lot of other people also talked to me randomly. Like that happened all the time during entire my travel. So I was like, oh, people here are really friendly. And it was kind of good opportunity for me to practice English because, you know, I've been learning English by myself and finally I got a lot of chances to speak with native. So yeah, I really enjoy talking with them. Like for example, when I'm waiting for the bus that would never come because I misunderstood the Google map. It was actually about a subway, not about a bus. Anyway, I was waiting for the bus and there was a guy who also waiting for the bus. And he came to us and he was like, "Are you guys also waiting for the bus?" And we started to have a conversation. Like he said that he is an American but he never been to San Francisco. Anyway, the conversation really went well. So I even ended up saying the personal things as well. I was like, oh, I teach Korean on YouTube, and he was like, oh my gosh, I should definitely find your channel. I know some basic Korean phrases, blah blah blah. So yeah, that was really funny. I was like, oh my gosh, I can have a friendly conversation with strangers. That's cool. So I really enjoyed it. Alright, the next. Prices are not real. So I knew about the tipping culture, and one of my friends even taught me that I need to wait for the servers to come if I want to pay. I mean, in Korea, when you finish your meal, you can just walk to the cashier, pay, and then just leave. So at least I knew about the difference, but what I didn't know was tax. I really didn't know that the tax was additional. So all the prices that I read or saw were not real ones. Like I had to pay tips and the tax. What? And giving tips was so confusing. I didn't want to behave rudely, but even street vendors had a jar for tips, so I was kind of confused about it. Anyway, prices were higher than I expected. I was like, oh my gosh, it costs so much for just one meal. And I also thought that it was a bit inconvenient because like I said, when you finish your meal, you can just leave the restaurant in Korea. But in the United States, I had to wait for the waiters to come. So I thought that it's kind of weird. But at some point, I also started to think that actually it could be an opportunity to help servers, right? I mean, I've never thought about that in Korea. So yeah, that was really good. And in Korea, I'm always in a rush. Like, I'm a queen of being impatient. I'm always in a 빨리빨리 mode. So sometimes if services take a while, I feel uncomfortable and irritated because I got so used to with those fast Korean services. I just take it for granted. But after all of that in the US, I was able to learn that taking my time is actually important for my life and for my happiness. I mean, in the meantime, when servers leave, I was able to talk more with my friend. I was able to be more relaxed. So that was good. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want me to make part 2, please let me know. I will try. Then, 안녕!